Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 88 of the Dear Herbalist podcast titled The Writing on the Wall, a Clarion Call to Herbalist. If you are new here, you are most certainly welcome. And if you are a returning listener, thank you so much for your continued support. I absolutely appreciate it. Tonight's topic, I want to make a clarion call to all herbalists, anyone that is watching TV, reading, paying attention to the signs of the times. We understand that healthcare is about to take a major shift. Okay. Now I know the big topic right now is abortion, but that is not what I'm talking about. Please put that to the side. I am talking about healthcare in terms of the medical community's definition, which includes diseases and disorders. So if you are paying attention like I am, I'm sure most of you are now starting to see a lot of exposure going on within not only the food industry, but within the medical industry. And I don't necessarily think this is by accident. In time, everything must come to an end. Or you can say the chickens must come home to roost. And for those of faith, how we understand it, the seeds that have been planted are now about to spring forth and be ready for a harvest. So because it appears that censorship is at an all-time high, many herbalists don't feel like they can fully express themselves or their concerns. Sometimes people may say, oh, we're tinfoil hats or conspiracy theorists or whatever the case may be. That tends to shut a lot of herbalists up. They're like, okay, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say what's really in the food because people are going to call me crazy. Well, guess what? There are a lot of people out there that agree with you and that know that you are not crazy. It's a fact, right? They fear what the masses might say as a result of what they hear. But if you pay attention for even just a few minutes, you'll see that there is a great revealing happening going on right before our eyes, and there is more to come. What people are about to discover is where their food really comes from, what type of meat we're really eating, and how modern medicines and methods given to us to heal ourselves are no more than band-aids designed to keep our dis-ease or disorders going. Now, I'm sure some of you might say, girl, you ain't telling us nothing new. And I agree that there are those out there that if you know, you already know. But there's about to be a huge wave of people waking up and they need help to make sense of what is actually going on before them. Not believe their lying eyes, as some people would have liked us to believe. They will need to know that the medicines that they are taking are in fact the cause of what they are dealing with or may contribute to it. They will have to understand that the foods they are eating are in fact the reason why their body can't receive certain herbal remedies or vitamins that they are attempting to take. So what does all this mean? All this means is that I am giving a clarion call to all herbalists. Those who feel a pull to become one, those that are interested in herbal medicine, those that are just afraid to accept the call but know they need to be here, and those that have hung up their herbs and said, you know what, I am not going to return to the field. These people get on my nerves. Oh my goodness, I am over it. Come on back home. Come on back home. Return to the field. The world needs us now. They didn't know, and most fought against it. And yes, trust me, it is very frustrating to deal with someone that you have been trying to offer solutions the entire time. It's very frustrating for that person now to come back to you when it's almost too late to say, hey, I need help. But guess what? You got to help them because you have the information, Now, no one said that getting into herbal medicine, it would be pretty. No one said that you would become rich. No one said that you would have tons of people at your feet ready to hear and take heed of your advice. In fact, in your life, and as well as it's been in mine, it's probably been the opposite. Once you make the declaration out of your mouth that this is going to be the path that you're going to take, it probably seems like once you said that, everything started going haywire. Your health, maybe the people, the health in your household, those around you, maybe you were dealing with mockery and criticism and it was too much. But be encouraged. All of that happened for a reason, and things continue to happen for a reason. Nothing is by happenstance, and no experience that you have had will be wasted, even if you were in a completely different field before. Let's say you were a different career field. You could have been an accountant or a tax professional or an attorney, but deep down inside, you always knew this is where you were supposed to be. No experience is wasted. You could have been a secretary, a teacher. You could have been a garbage man. No matter what it is, you could have worked at Lowe's, But deep down inside, you knew that you were supposed to be doing more. No experience is wasted. So what do we have to do as herbalists? I made the call. What do we got to do? Now we have to stand up, get ourselves together, and get ready for what's to come. We have to arm ourselves with the knowledge to be able to help those that are in need. Education is going to be very important so that the ones that we are trying to help can then take the information and then go help someone else. I would recommend, do not try to strive to be the end all be all in your client's life or in the community's lives. You want to make sure that you disseminate the information so that people can then take that information and pass it on. You don't want to be the savior. You don't want to be lifted up as the savior. Trust me, you don't want that title, nor probably the attention that comes along with that, good or bad. Those praises that you might get or thank yous that you might get, sure, they feel good. It feels good to feel appreciated, but you got to stay focused on the task at hand. So that means on the inside of you, you have to have a sense of contentment and self-soothing, as they call it, so that you're not needy. And it's like, I got to have people praise me, or I got to have people, give me thousands and thousands of compliments. You don't want that. Okay. You don't want that. So you want to make sure that you're full so that you don't get tempted to sway that way, and approach every situation with humility, education, and compassion. If they receive what you got to say, great, amazing, wonderful. If they don't, provide them the information, education, maybe a pamphlet or two, and then shake the dust off your feet and move forward. Because there are millions and millions and billions of people, not just in the United States, but all over the world that needs the information that we have. One of the blessings of the internet, YouTube, TikTok, and all these other places, is that you can reach more people. So you may be in the United States, but somebody that you need to reach, or a community that you need to reach, could be in Tibet somewhere, or could be in Japan somewhere, or could be in North Korea somewhere. You know what I'm saying? You just never know. You never know where your people are, but at the end of the day, you just got to get out there and speak, because people need to know. And we don't want to become capitalist in the sense. In herbal medicine, it's a thin line. Okay. Because as a herbalist, of course, you have a business, you want to be able to make money, right? But on the other hand, people need help. And sometimes you may have to do it for very cheap or even free sometimes. And that doesn't put food on the table. So you have to find other creative ways to bring in the coins, because in herbal medicine, it's just can't be a get rich quick type of scheme. One, you don't want that type of attention or title. And two, you can really cause harm to someone, especially if, you are diving into that get rich quick crap. We don't want to do that. We don't want to make empty promises. It's better to under promise and over deliver than to over promise and under deliver, no matter what. And then you have to stay true to the foundation, your foundational knowledge. Only work within the scope of your understanding, not work within the scope of what someone else may know, because you will be held accountable for what you know, right? So keep those little tidbits in mind as you're sitting back thinking about how you're going to play a part in today's society in terms of healthcare and herbal medicine and education, because your part is a big part, no matter which way you go, whether you're just focusing on education, whether you're deciding to be a clinical herbalist, no matter which way you decide to go, in herbal medicine, make sure that you have the education to back yourself up. Now, am I saying that you need to go and get a degree and all this other stuff? No. Can you be self-taught? Absolutely. But being self-taught And I do want to say that because I remember somebody reached out to me and they were like, do I need a biochemist degree? Because I talk a lot about biochemistry and all of this. No, you don't need that. Okay. But if you are self-taught, okay, then you are held to a higher standard than those that have just gone to school, whether it be an herbalist school or whether it be a naturopath school. You are held to a higher standard because they're like, hey, you don't have no degree behind your name. So what do you really know? And you have to prove that. But how you prove it is, first of all, staying within your scope of education. And after that, be effective. Because like I told you before, the proof is always in the pudding. If Joe Schmo in the white coat has not been able to address this issue, but they come to you and you're able to address it in 48 hours or however long and give them a better quality of life, guess who's going to get that recommendation? Right? People don't care as much about degrees as you think they do. But just because you don't have one or you may not decide to go, either way you go is up to you. Okay, I advocate for education, period, no matter which way you get it. But even if you decide not to, then you have the responsibility to make sure that you educate yourself thoroughly in what you're trying to do and don't operate outside of that. Okay, so I had to dive off a little bit on the side of that because I was thinking about that. One of the listeners had asked me about that. So I do believe in self-study. I am self-taught. I do also have a naturopath diploma and all that stuff too, but I really value my self-study because I get to actually learn the things I'm interested in and really dive deeper than often sometimes what other schools may go. They have a certain curriculum, certain syllabus, and that's it. And for me, I'm like, I want to know a little more, or I don't really want to know that aspect of it, but I do want to know this side. If there was like an a la carte, right? You can kind of pick and put together your curriculum type of thing. I think I would be down with that. What do you guys think? I think I would be down with that. But I also wanted to talk about really quickly, because you'll probably hear this going on, going around right now. But in September, around 2023, the FDA's Non-Prescription Drugs Advisory Committee reviewed it's called phenylephrine. Okay, these medical terms. But it's a common ingredient in over-the-counter cold and flu medications. And they found it ineffective in relieving nasal congestion, right? Now, this ingredient is used in popular brands like your Sudafed, your Tylenol, your NyQuil. And the advisory panel concluded that this particular chemical, phenylephrine, okay, if I'm not saying it right, phenylephrine. What they're saying is that it does not perform better than a placebo because it largely is metabolized in the gut before reaching the bloodstream. And I've talked before about ADME, absorption, distribution, metabolism and excretion. This is a popular term in the pharmaceutical world, right? But I kind of want to bring that understanding over into herbal medicine to show people how you determine your dosage and these type of things is you want to know how is this particular chemical metabolized in the stomach. And if it's metabolized, let's say you give 200 milligrams of turmeric with a little pepper, right? Always put your pepper and turmeric together. But let's say you do that and the person takes it, but it doesn't seem like to have an effect on them. Well, maybe the dosage is too small, right? Because it gets metabolized in the gut. So if you have a larger amount, you see what I'm saying, then it can kind of help go through that process. So this is the reason why I talk about ADME. I've done a podcast on that before. So feel free to, circle back and listen to that. But it was basically saying that this chemical is largely metabolized in the gut before it even reaches your bloodstream. So this is the reason why it's not effective. The FDA has not yet removed this chemical that is in oral decongestants from the market, but this recommendation does raise concerns that people may delay effective treatments by using these products. So if the FDA accepts the recommendations, manufacturers may have to reformulate really, or discontinue these types of medications. So we know there are tons of natural herbal decongestants and these kind of things. And really, you want to kind of use the ones that help thin out the mucus and that type of stuff, right? So there's tons of that out there. With this information, it's not widely promoted, but I did notice on TikTok the other day that somebody had brought it to light, and then it's kind of taken off from there. This was actually reviewed in 2023, but obviously we haven't heard nothing since. So this is the reason why it's important for us as herbalists to really pay attention to what's going on in healthcare, what's going on with the FDA and all these other drugs and medications, because people are going to come looking for these things. They're going to come looking for natural alternatives to Sudafed and Tylenol and NyQuil. So we want to know this information so that we can offer this medicine. I hate to use the term alternative when it comes to herbal medicine. I can get on my soapbox about that. We are the original. We are not alternatives. But for the sake of conversation, I'll say the word. But I don't like it. So that is kind of what was on my mind today. Let me give you, before we leave, a few ways that herbalists can really stand out and influence their role in today's modern healthcare. Number one, with many mainstream medications under question, people are going to turn to herbalists as they seek alternative options to relieve their issues. So this shift could actually encourage herbalists to take a more prominent role in wellness, educating the public on herbs and different plants that have been traditionally used for, let's say, respiratory health or immune support or symptom relief. So having an understanding of these type of herbs that can specifically address these issues will help. Another thing, and I kind of touched on it before, having a strong educational role in your community. As confidence in over-the-counter medications kind of goes away, herbalists can step up as educators. We can provide insights on how specific herbs work within the body, how the body works and responds, but also what the body is doing to address the specific issue on its own, the potential benefits of plants, as well as safety concerns. Because there's a lot of misinformation out there as well, where people just chuck in 45 different herbs, mixing everything together, and not realizing that just because it's natural doesn't mean that it's safe, right? You got to be careful in terms of how you use, what you use, when you use. And this is the information that we have or should have as herbalists, and be able to educate our clients on that. We can also educate our clients on the value of strengthening their immune system and the herbs you can use for that, like elderberry or astragalus or echinacea. Also helping relieve certain symptoms using herbs like ginger and peppermint and thyme, but empowering them nonetheless to make informed choices. Not try to force them to do something, not try to bully them into it, but just saying, hey, here's the information, here's the understanding I have about the dis-ease and disorder that you're dealing with, and these are some herbs or some plants or some remedies that I feel like would best help you. Here's some information, go ahead and check it out, educate yourself and go from there, right? Another thing is that we look at research and transparency. So just as the FDA is kind of scrutinizing pharmaceutical effectiveness and that kind of thing, herbalists might focus on transparency as well as research-backed approaches and look at promoting herbs with substantial historical or even scientific support for immune health. Now, like I told you guys before, herbal medicine is heavily researched, okay? And a lot of the studies that you might find on it might not be from the United States. So keep that in mind. Just because you look at, let's say, PubMed or some of these other research sites and you're like, okay, well, I found maybe 10 or 15 talking about the efficacy of wild plantain from the United States. Keep going. I guarantee you you're going to see hundreds of thousands of research articles from all over the world. Okay, there's not just good scientists here in the United States. There are good scientists that have a little more freedom as far as science is concerned to do the research and things like that. So you don't want to count those international articles out either. They've actually provided me with some really great information on the plants and even in my own research. So take that into consideration. Another thing could be looking at creating customizable as well as preventative approaches to certain protocols, right? We have the advantage of actually tailoring our remedies to our clients' individual needs. And this is valuable for cold and flu symptoms or a variety of different issues that they might deal with. We can actually provide our clients with custom herbal blends that can include supporting their immune system, that may be a decongestant, or herbs that are suited to their unique symptoms, which can also reinforce a preventative approach to their health, which is a role that's often looked over, right, in conventional cold and flu care. If we can help people prevent these things before they start, that's better than having to address them after it's active, right? And then the other thing too is, though we have modern science and all of this and botany and anatomy and physiology and biochemists, though we have all of this modern knowledge and advanced knowledge, we can also really bring back and restore the traditional knowledge and help people to understand their traditional practices and emphasizing addressing the entire person and not just focusing on one aspect of it, because these things really mattered. How the ancients looked at the human body and its functions and how they looked at plants. They understood the synergy that exists between the plant and the human, and they understood it at a deeper level, and so really help bringing that back and helping people to respect and understand traditional knowledge and how they can use it in their own homes. So, in closing, in this episode, I've explored the shifting tides in healthcare and the implication for herbalists worldwide. With the recent revelations regarding the ineffectiveness of certain mainstream medicines and increasing transparency around food and medicine, there is a call to action for herbalists to be ready. This clarion call invites us to educate, support, and prepare for the wave of awakening. And trust me, it is coming. Now is the time to embrace the role of guide, of teacher, educator, and standing with humility, wisdom, and resilience. So let's step forward, stay united in purpose. Let's help others see the power of natural medicine as well as holistic medicine in an ever-changing world. And if you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on all of my social media sites at The Demystified Herbalist. And until next time, family, I'm out.